Now that Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is out in theaters, a lot of fans around the world have been wondering and very curious about the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, without a doubt, a lot of fans had issues with both The Last Jedi and, of course, The Rise of Skywalker on exactly how it was handled by Disney and Lucasfilm and exactly the structure of the movies, and a lot of people are very critical of exactly what's going to happen with the future of the Star Wars franchise and everything moving forward. Now, we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm, they are focusing primarily on Disney Plus, their new Star Wars movies, and even other projects out there in the mix that's going to consist of the new Star Wars universe. In case you guys are completely unaware, there is a new Star Wars expanded universe currently in the works that's going to kickstart this March, starting off with the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker that's going to be the foundation of it all, and then beyond that, it's just going to pretty much evolve there with each and every month, leading into 2021, 2022, and so on and so forth. So everything related to the future of Star Wars, alright? A lot of fans are very mystified about this because obviously there's been a lot of back and forth scenarios by Kathleen Kennedy, the head of Lucasfilm, who always had creative differences with the creatives on board for many of the projects like Solo: A Star Wars Story, Episode 9, and that's only to name a few projects right then and there. Even the Kenobi TV series, which by the way is getting adjusted as we speak right now. Now, on top of all of this, what's rather intriguing and exciting that has all to do with George Lucas is that ever since the release of The Rise of Skywalker, both Disney and Lucasfilm have been developing their new Star Wars universe, also known as their new expanded universe, that is set to expand and evolve the franchise into something new and original. Currently, they are primarily focused on their live-action TV shows as well as their new movies to release throughout this decade to deliver the fans a brand new decade's worth of Star Wars material. One of the big plans by Disney and Lucasfilm is to involve George Lucas for the new Star Wars trilogy, and that George Lucas is said to have a say in the matter of the structure of the script and how it will be written, and that Disney will allow George to use some of his ideas with the writers and directors coming on board for his new Star Wars trilogy. George Lucas is actually said to be using many of his original ideas from the prequel trilogy era, and that Lucasfilm also is allowing Jon Favreau to work alongside George Lucas and the other writers and directors for these three new Star Wars movies, starting off with the first film, dubbed as Star Wars X, which will kickstart the new trilogy into a new era of Star Wars for the fans around the world. Now, one of the big plans by Lucasfilm is to also allow George Lucas to have some control over the dialogue written for the new trilogy, given that George helped with this also for The Rise of Skywalker, and that this is Bob Iger's plan to make the three films as authentic as possible for the Star Wars universe. With the three new Star Wars films set to begin production this February, fans are very curious of what Disney and Lucasfilm have in store for their new Star Wars films that will reshape the entire franchise. So obviously a lot of fans are very curious about this, including myself, because this really is going to be something quite different. Aside from the sequel trilogy, which really relied on nostalgia and relied on basing it off of the originals and the prequels and kind of having some of the familiar characters return, these new movies are really going to be pretty much a fresh start, right? Pretty much taking a blank canvas and writing on it, and that's exactly what they're going to be doing. So, apart from everything related to Disney Plus and their TV shows, the fact that they have to have George Lucas back on board for this new trilogy to help out with the writing of the script, the dialogue, and even using some of his original ideas from the prequel trilogy, such as scrapped ideas of certain ships, worlds, cities on planets, stuff around those lines, that will be used for the new Star Wars trilogy. So this tells me that Disney is obviously desperate. I think that there's no other way to really say this, but then that they're very desperate because of exactly what happened with The Rise of Skywalker. In case you guys are wondering, The Rise of Skywalker at the box office is not going to beat The Last Jedi. It's just not going to, from what it seems, worldwide speaking. It's pretty much come to a dead stop at this point where it's really not moving. So it's not going to top $1.3 billion at the box office worldwide, and I think that Disney and Lucasfilm sees this as proof that there is a, I guess you could say, fatigue within the Star Wars franchise, not because of the amount of Star Wars films coming out, but because of how Disney handled Star Wars, right? Exactly how they handled The Last Jedi, how poorly Solo did because of The Last Jedi, and how The Rise of Skywalker did at the box office. Now, given it was still a success to a certain level, but it wasn't exactly what they were aiming to get at the box office, and in their eyes, they view that as somewhat of a failure in a sense. To me, I thought that the movie was decent. It had a lot of flaws in it. It had a lot of scenes that I hated in the movie, ones that I also loved. It's an emotional roller coaster for me. But looking forward to the future, like I say, the fact that Kathleen Kennedy will no longer be involved with creative choices after 2021. That honestly is a very good move, and that I believe is a light at the very end of the tunnel here by Lucasfilm and Disney and exactly how they're going to be handling the franchise moving forward. I think that's a very good move here, and I think it's something that's going to give us a different tone for these new movies as well. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.